Have you ever been denied for a loan? We're talking about the top reasons why Americans get denied on a mortgage, and U.S. brokers report business as usual as coronavirus fears escalate. Let's cut to the chase. Welcome to Cut to the Chase with Jen and Dan. My name is Dan Ferullo, and my co-host here with me, as always, is Jennifer Freed. How's it going today?
It is excellent. I am back from Miami this week.
Yeah, Jen just got to spend 3 days in the sun with some of the top realtors in the country, learning.
That's what my brain felt like.
I can imagine.
The content of the workshops were so great that I was lursing all over the place
Yeah.
at the end of the days. It was great.
I remember when I did that the first time I did that, I was like a brand new agent, and my mind was just so filled and overwhelmed with things that I was like, oh my God, where do I even go with this?
Yeah, so always good to get out of town, and even better to meet people in your industry, sharpen your skills, learn a whole bunch of new things, and eat some amazing food in a beautiful place like Miami. So shout out to Bill Pipes and the Tom Ferry Network for hooking all of that up. I thoroughly enjoyed all of it.
They always do a great job with their...
Oh my goodness, I'm playing a video magically on my computer. I better make it stop. I think I bumped it with my finger, so I'm gonna hit the mute button and make it stop. So this is
a little technical
rambling.
difficulty, but anyways,
There we go.
Jen was learning sales skills and how to so many awesome tips and tricks for conversing with people and getting business, and just I can't recommend that the Sales Edge seminar or whatever you call it enough. It is truly one of the best conferences one could possibly go to. So you're back from that. We're having some wonderful spring weather this week. So how's everything else going for you?
It's great. We're going to talk about open house attendance and showings here for our second article. Everyone else is talking about the economy right now, which is a lot about our first article.
Yep.
What are things looking like in your business?
Things in my business are looking normal as far as real estate goes. Just signed on a new listing last week, and hopefully getting that up next week. I did have a...
Can you say what town it's in, Dan?
It is in Portsmouth.
All right, I can't wait to check it out.
This is actually my first Portsmouth listing that I've ever had, so that's really fun.
All right.
So I'm excited about that. So we're going to do a lot of marketing as
Dan
far as
does
that
Portsmouth.
goes. So if anybody's looking for a 3-bedroom in Portsmouth around mid 400s, give me a call.
All right, so you heard it here first.
Yeah, I haven't done any marketing yet, but the seller did say that we could do some pre-marketing. So
fantastic. And if you need to buy it and have not applied for a mortgage.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about the mortgages first?
Yeah, I think we should.
Okay, sounds good. Let me just pull that up. All right, so... Oh, you were going to say something?
Yeah, what I was going to say is that a lot of folks who haven't applied for a mortgage before sometimes are worried about the process. It seems it's one or the other. It's either super easy, you upload like a couple of documents online, click, your lender calls you, and you're fine. They've pulled everything. They can even, if you give them the login and all that, they can do everything electronically. It's beautiful and secure. Other folks, I know I'm self-employed, I have to provide more things, have more conversations, and it's really confusing for consumers. Like, what actually would prevent someone from getting a mortgage? I mean, many people have jobs, have income, so people should be able to get a loan for some amount, but this article really spells it out beautifully. Why don't you take it away, Dan?
Yeah, so this article is talking about why Americans are denied for a mortgage. It's a Fox News article. And while it is absolutely a great time for homebuyers to be thinking about making a purchase, here are some common reasons that mortgage applications are denied. So the number one reason is debt to income ratio. And 35% of the respondents that were... cited this reason. That was 35% of people that they asked cited this reason. So you might be wondering, what is debt to income ratio?
What
does
debt
that
to
mean?
income ratio?
So say you make, for easy math, $100,000 a year, and you have $50,000 in debt. I was 1 to 2 income debt to income ratio. I don't know what they're specifically looking for like what the
Yeah, because
what
we're
the
not
lenders. We're not
lenders.
lenders, so obviously, but they're basically looking at how much you make versus how much debt you have.
Right, because taking on a mortgage is taking on additional debt. So
Exactly.
everything they're evaluating you for is they want to see how likely is this person to keep paying us back.
Yes, exactly.
So the lower your debt to income ratio, the more confident the lender is that you have the ability to continuously pay them back their
Right,
money.
exactly. And it certainly isn't a bad thing to have debt. I mean, you can certainly have, a car loan. You can have some credit card
Education.
stuff, education loans. It's certainly not a bad thing. They just want to be looking at, how much you make versus how much you're putting out every month towards those debts to make sure that you are, like Jen said, able to continue to pay your mortgage, which is what their most important thing
The
to them
good
is.
thing is, and one of these days we should probably have one of our lender friends on to chat through this
Yeah, for
because
sure.
it's really out of our wheelhouse to a degree. But one of the great thing is if you pair with the right lender, let's say you go to apply and your debt to income ratio doesn't work for you to get the loan. What they can do is they can look at what your debt is and say, if you paid off X amount of your car, or if these credit cards are paid off, and sometimes it actually helps to not pay off certain things, especially if you don't have a long-term credit history.
Yeah, exactly, right.
There's lots of conversations surrounding that you can have with your lender, but it's not game over. A lot of good lenders will make sure that you have a plan, and it might just be a couple of months and you need to pay this, tweak this, move this, and you're good to go.
Yep.
What's next on their list?
All right. So next, most common things are low credit scores. 14, that was 21%. 14% that their income was unable to be verified. 12% said they had insufficient funds for a down payment. So, credit scores vary based on what type of loan program you're going for. If you are trying to purchase with a FHA type mortgage, which is the Federal Housing Administration backed or secured mortgage, or that's basically like they're insuring the loan. Your income, or I mean, I'm sorry, your credit score can be lower. I don't know what the exact numbers are. And again, we can, we should talk with a lender about some of these things at some point. But, having your income be able to be verified, that kind of has to do with sending W-2s and that types of stuff.
And 1099s.
1099, sure. Insufficient funds for a down payment, and kind of in similar, not down payment options vary based on what type of loan program you're doing. It can be as little as 3% to as much as 20%. It varies. So those are some common reasons that people were denied for mortgages.
Yeah, I think that one of the big ones is where did those funds for down payment come from? There are some rules about where
Sure.
funds can come from, and so sometimes you might have more money than can be used as a down payment because of where it came from. So again, a good lender is going to point you in the right direction, and again, you might only be, let's say, your tax refund away. So, January you apply for the loan, you don't quite have enough for that down payment. By the time your tax return comes in, your lender will be able to get you ready to go.
Yeah, exactly. And so it seems like though most people who were asked about this, they actually had not had had mortgage. Excuse me. Sorry. Guess I don't know what I'm trying to say. So most people, only 5% of those who were reported said that they did have a mortgage lender reject their application, and most people who did said that they only had it rejected once. So it sounds like they're working with people to kind of get their
plan together.
Yeah, get their plan together so that they are able to get into their dream of ownership. And we've talked a little bit about how great of a time that it is to purchase a property. And last week or this week, the Fed decided to cut interest rates by 50 basis points, which has helped us to have mortgage rates lower a little bit more. So mortgage rates being lower, your buying power is a little bit higher, and who knows where rates are going to go to this year, but right now they're at nearly record lows. I do recall hearing Tom Ferry saying on one of his podcasts or shows that he's predicting 2% this year at interest rates. So they haven't hit that low, but something I heard.
It's not impossible.
Yeah.
This is a good segue into our next article, which is about what has happened between last week and this week with the coronavirus. So that's obviously a hot topic worldwide, and we like to talk about what's going on in our industry. So last week, I wanted to take on what kind of headlines we're addressing, because we were getting a lot of, oh my God, headlines all over the place. And so we got one for a real estate article, and then the whole article had nothing to do with anything bad. It was like, maybe if you have some foreign buyers, this might become a problem for you. So the headline did not match the content of the article, which is one of my sticky bugaboo parts. I'm way into like consumer transparency and all of that. So I like this week's article. So obviously our industry has had a big impact because we're impacted by the mortgage industry. So the Fed cut by 50 basis points because of the coronavirus, because they want to make sure the economy stays hopping, and they, whether or not, and there's many theories, this is not a finance show, so whether or not it was a knee-jerk reaction or whether it was something that is going to help what might be coming down the pike, too soon to say, but that's the decision that was made. So I love this article. So it's from Mansion Global. U.S. brokers report business as usual as coronavirus fears escalate. So this is true. There is a lot of fear surrounding the coronavirus because we're learning about it. It's new. So the headline: despite taking extra precautions, potential buyers came out for open houses this weekend. So not only in our market right here, people are still scheduling the same number of showings. I haven't seen showings drop off from you personally, nor at my brokerage.
Yep.
And open house attendance has been on par with, prior to, coronavirus news for the U.S. So this article cites two big markets, New York and LA. Obviously much bigger population, different risk factors scientifically, etc. So one agent said, well, yeah, we had a little bit of a drop off in one open house, but it's because we set the clocks back. So everybody came in the second hour of the open house, but we had the same overall in attendees. In general, people are just not shaking hands with one another. And in New York, they remarked that people were a little bit less likely to run their hands over the countertops and that kind of stuff. LA, they didn't even change that in this article. So people are doing, just personal precautions, but they're stuff like just leaving the door open so people don't even have to open the handle. More hand-related things, but it isn't thus far in large markets and in our own market here preventing people from coming to shop for houses. So that's where we're at right now. We're in line with some of the big markets. Time is going to tell, if it stays that way or not.
Yep.
And we'll keep you updated here.
Yeah, I was at an open house this weekend with a buyer, and we were there at right around 1:00, and there were still loads of buyers. I think there were 7 that came through in the 10 minutes that we were there. So there's still a dearth of inventory, and the buyers still, it's the height of the spring, or the spring market is just about to be hitting, as the weather is getting higher. Probably some cat hair that was on me somewhere. And another side to this, we're talking about buyers going into open houses, but it was interesting because there was an email that was going around in our company last week or just yesterday even, that sellers were like, hey, how are you going to disinfect our homes after the open houses? And so people had some ideas of having people wear those booty things, or they had those Lysol wipes that they were wiping down after. So it's interesting that business is going forward as usual. We're just trying to take some extra precautions so that people feel safe.
Yeah, it's this is kind of just a sidebar to wrap it up. On a personal note, I'm trying to figure out, with kids in school, healthy kids go to school. Obviously, you can have every kind of germ under the sun at a typical middle school where my children attend, right? So if I wanted to, really follow a lot of protocols, I'd probably send them with wipes. So like if they get to their class, like they wipe off their desk, and then they do like the hand washing. Like they are about as good with hand washing as 3 middle school boys can be. They have improved in this area, but it's what it is.
Yep.
But I mean, if we have an entire middle school full of kids who are not in between classes, like Clorox wiping the desk, there's a part of me that says there's a balance point to be found. And I think that we'll find that with our individual clients, and as a community, we'll find that as well.
Absolutely, I agree.
By staying calm, supporting each other, and remember to get a good moisturizer too. My hands are getting really dry from the extra. Well, it's the extra happy birthday. Like I was a 1 happy birthday washer, and now I'm a double happy birthday, and now they are dry.
So you sing the entire song twice?
Well, yeah. I mean, I sing it really fast in my head.
Okay.
But I was a 1 happy birthdayer.
Yeah.
And now I'm a 2 happy birthdayer because I was like, gee, have I been washing my hands long enough in real life?
Yeah. Well, time will tell, I guess.
What song do you sing when you wash your hands?
I do not sing a song when I wash my hands.
Not even in your head?
I just wash my hands, and then I...
Not even like Staying Alive? That's a CPR one, right? Like that's the heart rate
that's
song.
for. No, right. I don't do that.
Maybe we'll find out what the song is next week.
There is no song, I promise you.
We need to make a song. All right.
Anyways, well, thank you so
Linda,
much
that's it. That's all you need to hear from us this week.
Thank you so much for tuning in, watching, listening. Please rate and review us on YouTube, iTunes, Facebook,
everywhere,
Instagram, LinkedIn, wherever the hell you're watching us.
Yeah, let us know how things are impacting you, coronavirus-wise,
we would love to hear.
And mortgage application-wise.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks so much for tuning in. This has been Cut to the Chase.
Bye.